Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be discussing some potential villains that I would like to see added in post-launch DLC for Gotham Knights. I know the community is very divided on this game. Some people love it, some people hate it. I'm a bit in the middle. There is a lot I do like about it, and there is also a lot that I dislike about it. I'm not going to get into that in today's video because that's just a whole different discussion. But for this, I'm just going to go over three different villains I think would kind of fit in this type of game. You know, like with the factions that are in this game, I feel like these three villains would work and would fit in as, I don't know, just kind of cool side missions, kind of like the three that are currently in the game. So I'm going to go into it right away by mentioning our first villain, which is Anarky. Now, Anarky, he's a funny one, okay? Because I thought Anarky was going to be in the game at the beginning, like before the game came out. You know, we see the trailers, we see these characters that are, well, they're known as the Freaks faction in this game, but we see them having the Anarky logo on, and you know, everyone kind of just assumed he was going to be in the game, I guess. I mean, most people did. Some people probably thought, oh, maybe he's not. I mean, personally, I was one of the ones that thought, you know, they're showing Anarky logo. Warner Brothers Montreal have had Anarky in Arkham Origins. You know, they did use that character in that game. They probably, you know, I just thought they would bring him back and it would have been a cool fit, you know. Especially with the Court of Owls, you know, the secret society that they are, and, you know, Anarchy's very much against the rich and stuff, and that's pretty much what the Court of Owls is made up of, all the rich families of Gotham. So I feel like he could have worked really well in this game. Now, the way they could implement him is maybe, like, after the game, I don't know, this will all be DLC, so I don't know how it would fit with the main story, but I guess if we want to go it off the story, spoiler alert for the story, if you don't want to know what happens at the end of it, I would suggest clicking off now, but I'm going to go slightly into it. After you kind of, you know, somewhat defeat the Court of Owls and that type of stuff, you know, maybe that's still kind of around, though. It's a bit of a weird situation there. But Anarky could be around as well, and I don't know if you want to use the Freaks as well. Like, we could just use the Freaks as his gang and maybe, you know, maybe slightly like different freaks, I guess. It sounds weird calling them freaks, but that is literally the name of the faction. I guess we could do something like that. Or we could have them be like an offshoot of the Freaks faction itself, like a smaller fraction that Anarky is in charge of. I don't know how they would do it, but that's how they could work the gang, kind of like how Mr. Freeze has his regulators, like Mr. Freeze work in regulators, and they're kind of different from the normal regulators gang. I don't know, it's a little confusing, but they could do it something like that with Anarky. I don't know how they would implement him into, you know, like what his goal would be. Maybe he would, I don't know, it would be a bit difficult. I don't want to reuse the same storyline they used for an Arkham Origins where he just tried to destroy government buildings and stuff like that. But they could definitely work something similar where he's maybe taken hostages or something. Maybe they could add a mechanic. I don't know if it would be a mechanic, but maybe they could have, you know, Red Hood, let's say, going around trying to free a certain amount of hostages. You could interrogate a few of his anarchists, and then it leads into like a boss fight in maybe like a new area. I don't know. They could do something like this. I'm really not sure how they would do it, but this video is more of just a discussion about what villains they could add rather than how they could add it. But I could definitely see them working it in with the main story, considering the Court of Owls, the rich families of Gotham, and Anarky kind of hates all of that. I mean, he doesn't really know of the Court of Owls' existence, but, you know, even in Arkham Origins, the hatred for the wealthy families of Gotham, like in Arkham Origins, it was like the Waynes, you know. They could do something like that for the story, but he is just someone that I think would really, I don't know, he would go really well with this game, and with the Freaks already being a faction in this game, I could see them definitely doing something like that. Okay, so the next villain I want to discuss is slightly different, as in, I don't think he would really have a faction, but hear me out, right? Clayface doesn't have a faction in this either, okay? So he could still definitely work. Clayface doesn't have a faction in this game, and he is still someone that works well. Professor Pig. So the thing is, again, Professor Pig, I thought he was going to be in the game, just like Anarky, because there is characters in this game, I think they're medics, that wear pig masks. And here's me thinking, oh, maybe they work for Professor Pig. You know, that was just my initial thought, but he isn't in the game. He is referenced, I'm pretty sure, in the Arkham Asylum segment of the game. Like I said, no, I've already said spoiler warning at the beginning, so you know. But his cell is pretty much there. I'm pretty sure in like the restricted area. I don't know if I'll have gameplay of that because I didn't record it at the time, and well, this game is really new. I don't want to go and try and beat this game again just to get the gameplay of the cell. But I'm pretty sure it is mentioned, so he is like a character in this universe already. Now, the way I think they could do it with him is there is crime scene. There is crimes in this game that are just like crime scene detective work. They could do a lot of that with him and maybe like focus more on that part for his like missions, I guess, because each case file in this game has like a few different missions that you need to do. They could do something similar with that and work with the mechanic that they've got there of the crime scene mechanic, and there isn't really a side mission that focuses on the crime solving part of the Gotham Knights characters. So I think he would be a really cool way of introducing that. Now, I don't know much else about how they would work his character. You know, this is just purely speculation and purely just ideas of what they could do. But I feel like a focus on the crime solving thing, kind of like they did with Arkham Knight. Again, I don't want to compare these games too much to the Arkhamverse, but you know, that's an example of what was successful and what kind of works. And I mean, you know, it could just work just as well in these types of games too. Very different styles of games, but they could work. So yeah, Professor Pig is someone I would really like to see. He's only been in one of the Arkham games anyway, so it wouldn't be like they're overusing his character like they did with the Joker, for instance, or anything. So I feel like that would be cool. And I don't know how they'd do it, like other than just working on the crime part of it, because I don't think Professor Pig would really be the type of guy to have his own faction. You know, he's kind of he's a psychotic serial killer, so I don't really think he'd work well with others, but they could definitely do something like that for him. And the last character I would really like to see is Black Mask, and this is purely because of how they kind of treated him in Arkham Origins. Now, I know, again, it's not a connected universe at all, I'm fully aware of that, but come on, it's Black Mask, he is a crime lord. He would work perfectly with the faction system that they've got in this game. There's the mob, there's obviously the Court of Owls, there's the League of Shadows, there's the Freaks, there's the Regulators. Why not add Black Mask and give him his own faction? I feel like that would work pretty well, honestly. Maybe you could have moments where there's like gang wars, I guess, like him fighting against the mob or his guys fighting against the Regulators. I don't know. They could do something like that. Maybe they could even incorporate crime scenes into it to find maybe like, I don't know, let's just say there's a chemical that you need to scan for to locate where his gang's going to strike next or something similar. They could do something like that. I would love to see it, and I don't know if they will, but I just feel like having another like crime lord boss in this game would be pretty cool, because there is the mob, but the mob in this game, as far as my knowledge goes, there isn't really a leader. I mean, maybe there's talk of one. I really don't know if it's like Carmine Falcone or anything like that. I'm sorry if I pronounced his name wrong, but I don't know if it's any of those. I really couldn't tell you, but Black Mask, I feel like, as you know, for a part of the underworld, I guess, the mob type world, he would fit pretty well, and it would kind of redeem, you know, kind of how his character was treated in Arkham Origins. I mean, his character was like decent, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I did like his side mission that he had, but he was marketed as like the main villain, and I think it'd just be nice to see him again, give him some proper treatment, make him like, I don't know, give him his own little DLC, I guess. But anyway, those are the three villains I think would work pretty well in this type of game. Now, I don't know if they're ever going to do DLC, I'm just going to be honest, but these are just some characters I think would work well in this type of thing. Especially Professor Pig, in all honesty, because Clayface, Clayface, and if they did add Professor Pig, they wouldn't need their own factions, so if they didn't want to go to the effort, I guess, of making a brand new faction, those types of villains would still work well. That being said, I hope you've all enjoyed this kind of just speculative rant, I guess. I don't really know what you'd call this. I've just been rambling on, basically. I've kind of just had three villains I've had in my head that I wanted to talk about and just kind of talked about them. But yeah, if you guys agree, if there's any villains you would like to see added further down the line in this series, do let me know by leaving a comment and share your opinion. Is there any villains you just don't want to see, like the Joker? I mean, I personally would not want to see him in this in this game. I know they've said they're not adding him in that, and that's good. I hope it stays that way if they do choose to add DLC. But let me know in the comments if there's any villain that you would like to see. I mean, the Ventriloquist and Scarface, there's them types of villains that I would also love to see, but, well, I've just chosen 3 to talk about today. Anyway, I hope you all have an amazing day, and I will see you all in whatever next video I make. Bye, everyone.